Hey, hope all is well. Happy Monday. So, Texas is coming out swinging, and Houston is trying to swing back with a few lawsuits that they have up their sleeve. Houston is trying to sue the state and block three bills from turning into law on September the 1st. And those three bills are HB 2127, SB 1750, and 1933. So, before I even get started with that, Texas is trying to regulate and have consistency when it comes to all laws and orders all across the board. And I cannot blame them. You cannot have one law in one city and a different law in another city because that's just not the way the state should be ran. We're one state, so we should have uniformity across the board. And Texas has begun derailing and regulating progressive policies and leaders. And a progressive is someone who wants to see more economic and social equality and hopes to see more gains in like feminism and all of these other types of rights that they're talking about right now. They're also supportive of social programs directed by the state, like the BLM movement and all of those things that have been funded by George Soros. Texas is starting from the smallest issues all the way to the largest. They are trying to have local regulations, including bills to prevent local governments from enacting mask mandates and installing protections for tenants facing eviction. So I don't believe that the state would have need to step in if the local politicians were doing their jobs. So we need regulatory consistency. We need to maintain uniformity across the state, no matter what. And we've arrived at this point of having to have consistency because in recent years, cities and counties in Texas have attempted to drive their economic and social policies by setting their standards higher than what the Texas state requires. Everything from paid sick leave all the way to public affairs, they've basically been doing whatever they've pleased at the local level, and they thought that their governor would accept that, but that is not the case. So, some of the bills that have been introduced and further regulate cities include the three that I've already mentioned, as well as HB 17 and SB 29. So HB 2127 is the first one that they are suing for, and it has to do with local regulations. Basically, this new law will overturn existing measures that exceed the state rules, and it will prohibit counties and cities from adopting and enforcing their own local orders that contradicts what the Texas State Code says. Basically, the powers are returning back to the state where they belong. And local politicians are upset at this. Okay? SB 1750 and 1933 go hand in hand. They both relate to oversight procedures in state and county elections, also effective 9/1/23. We are abolishing or stopping the county election administrators' positions in certain counties, which have been in place since the late 2020. Now, we've gotten to this point because last year, Harris County had some issues and struggled with recent elections. Matter of fact, they struggled so much with irregularities that their county electors administrator had to resign because of the issues that were going on. We had polls that were opening late and malfunctioning equipment in Democratic neighborhoods. And then you had over 24 sites that were forced to shut down temporarily and ran out of paper ballots in Republican neighborhoods. And when the local politicians tried to call and speak about the things that were going on amongst each other, they shut down the issue as if it was null and void, of no importance whatsoever. So the governor is having to step in to allow the Secretary of State to be the overseer for the next year's election because there were so many irregularities and so much back and forth. So there's a reason behind the madness. It's not just coming out of nowhere, but they won't tell you that. The next bill is HB 17. This bill is going to pave the way for removing district attorneys from office who adopt policies of not prosecuting specific types of crime, including abortion, election offenses, and gender affirming care. Basically saying, they are going to kick you out of office if you do not do what the law states for you to do. It is illegal for abortions, election offenses, and gender affirming care under the age of 18 in Texas. That means that if you don't want to prosecute these crimes, we will kick you out of your office as an attorney because that is your job. This bill has gained traction after some Democratic attorneys stated that they would not prosecute abortion-related crimes. So now we're going to see how many attorneys we have in office after September the 1st. SB 29 is the last one, and it's pretty simple. It's going to prohibit the enforcement of local vaccine and mask mandates, also effective 9/1/23. Now, this, just in case the businesses try it, just in case local politicians try it, just in case there's another outbreak and they want people to stay locked up. The governor is saying no. No, you are not going to force my citizens to take a jab. No, you are not going to force my citizens to wear a mask. And they don't like that either. So, all of these bills that are actually taking effect have to do with regulations across the board, because you cannot treat one county one way and then do something different in another city or county. So yes, Texas is moving towards stricter laws when it comes to issues like abortion and voting. They are moving away from this leniency of do whatever you feel, these progressive policies in the United States. And I say that that's right to do. Sounds biblical to me. We have laws to uphold. We need regulations. We need consistency across the board. It shouldn't matter whether you will live in Houston with a Democratic mayor who is progressive, money hungry, and celebrity stricken. It shouldn't matter if you're in Dallas. The law should be the law, and you cannot bend the laws or regulations to your liking at your leisure. For example, just a few months ago in San Antonio and El Paso, they were voting to decriminalize abortion. Okay, so this is the type of things that the governor is fighting against, because when he says one thing and he puts that law into place, that's what it's going to be. There is no voting against it. And at this time, you have many local politicians who are furious. They are stating that there will be revenue and spending caps, that their power will be limited. And maybe this is because the mayor of Houston and judge of Harris County are both fighting similar but separate allegations when it comes to money being awarded in government contracts with friends and allies. Maybe it's because Mayor Turner and also Judge Hidalgo have been surrounded by controversy and scrutiny, allegedly engaging in corruption, abusing their official powers. Or maybe it's because Turner was accused of corruption when he allegedly went to award a $15 million housing contract to a firm that was led by his former law partner. I'm not exactly sure why they're mad. They're also upset when it comes to their limiting authority in local development. There have been several mayors in the state of Texas, from Houston all the way to Austin, Dallas, Arlington, Corpus Christi, that are upset and are demanding an overturning of these bills. One of the senators that sits right now in legislation is Senator Creighton, and he stated that we're not trying to eliminate local control. We are trying to eliminate local out of control, meaning that some bills and some ordinances and some things that you guys are doing is out of control, and we are coming to make sure that it stays in line and in order, decent and in order. So there's a reason behind the madness. I wouldn't trust any one of these Democratic mayors to run my cities, let alone have access to millions of dollars. So something has to be done with politicians crossing the legal line. They should be held accountable. And that is what the governor is doing. He is taking accountability and responsibility for the state that he was put in charge of. Everything has to be a top-down approach if you are a leader. And that leader has to maintain consistency so that everything else is able to fall into place. So if you can't get with that, then get lost, because there are 49 other states that will gladly welcome your progressive laws and control. So with that being said, I hope that you guys have had somewhat of an update of things that are coming down from the governor and some of the laws that are going to be put into place September the 1st. Hopefully this lawsuit will get shot down, just like everything else the Democrats are trying to do right now. And with that being said, you guys have a great day. Thank you.